What are you hungry for? I thought I'd make another short film today about food and eating and relationship with food and with yourself. For many years now, I've been running short courses, workshops, and more recently Zoom courses, exploring that relationship with food, how we eat, and the relationship that we have with ourselves. In the late 1980s, I went to America for a month with 3 friends, and we stayed in budget hotels for the whole of the trip. And what became really apparent to me within the first few days was that it was quite difficult to eat healthily. And by that I mean it was difficult to get fresh food, it was difficult to get fresh fruit and salads, and all the food that we were being offered, or the large majority of the food that we were being offered, was either fast food or it was really large portions. So in America at that time, which is a trend that we've adopted in the UK more latterly, is this buy one get one free, or you pay a certain amount from a buffet and you help yourself. You can eat as much as you like, pile your plate as high as you like. And what I noticed in myself was that that really encouraged me to overeat. And during the time that we were there, I put on half a stone, and my friend Nick put on a whole stone in a month. He actually had to go out and buy new jeans because he couldn't fit into his jeans any longer. So that was a really, really good demonstration to me of how easy it is to put weight on in a short space of time, in a relatively short space of time. That was only a month. And how difficult it is then to lose that weight again. Now, I had only put on half a stone. So half a stone, you could say, well, if you lose £1 a week, you could lose that in quite a short space of time. But I know from my own experience just how difficult that can be. Food is everywhere, and a lot of what we do as social beings, social creatures, is to eat with other people, and it is one of the pleasures in life. But you have only got to look around at the moment to realise, and since that trip to America in the late 1980s, when there wasn't essentially a massive problem with people being much heavier than they need to be and really should be for good health, optimal health status in the UK, to realise that people are overeating. So what is it that we're hungry for? I've said many times on these short films that our thoughts and behaviours, a lot of that is out of our conscious awareness, and a lot of our eating is habitual. And if it is habitual and it is a habit, that means it's something that you do without thinking about it. It's mindless rather than mindful. And one of the things that I always recommend to people if they are struggling with maintaining a healthy weight for them, of feeling comfortable with the weight that they're at, either they are eating too much and they're heavier than they want to be, or they are lighter than they would like to be and they struggle to put weight on. Both of those are issues around your relationship with food, the way that you view food and the way that you eat. In the short Zoom courses, which are 6 weeks, an hour and a half a week, we explore a lot of the patterns that are set up when we're young, so how we ate in our families of origin, the messages that we received around food when we were tiny. And you can't dispute the fact that that relationship between food and love and care and nurturing is set up at a very young age, at birth, if not before birth, when we start receiving food primarily from our mothers or the primary caregiver, but but it's usually the mother at that time. So this relationship, this bond, this association with food and with love and with care is set up from being very young. The other thing I wanted to flag up is that often we reward or punish ourselves with food. So that's something else that is really interesting to explore. You know, why is it that we reward ourselves when we've done something that we perceive as being good? With birthday parties when we're children, we have all the sweet things. With kids that we're taken out for a meal, well, for birthdays, for celebrations, for gatherings, but it's often not healthy, nourishing food that we feed ourselves with at those times of reward. So again, that's another opportunity that we have to set up with our children or with children that we are caring for, and in our own experiences of being children, of those messages being set up and of those rules, those habits being integrated into what we do on a daily basis without even thinking about it. As I was reflecting on all of this earlier in the week, I was actually also reminded of the fact that a habit for me, or a pattern that I was in at least until I was 30, was that every time it was Christmas or every time there was a celebration or every time I went on holiday, I would put weight on. It was almost as though that was free license. I had free reign to eat as much as I wanted, and then I would lose the weight at the end of that time. And it took me a very long time to realise that I didn't have to do that, and that I could eat in a much healthier way, and that if one day I had what I considered to be overeaten, then I would just cut back for the next few days, or have a day where I would just drink fluids or have a low intake day. I don't like to talk too much about calories because at one point in my life I was absolutely obsessed with calorie counting, knew the calorific content of absolutely every food that you could imagine. And again, I don't think that's a very healthy way to be around food, to be constantly thinking about the number of calories that you're consuming with every mouthful. So those are some of the thoughts that I've had, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about the offerings, the things that I offer around food and relationship with food and eating. And if any of this resonates with you, if currently you are heavier than you would like to be, if you don't feel comfortable in your own skin, if you're not happy being in this body that you're in, then please do get in touch to talk to me about one-to-one work or small group work. There is also an ongoing check-in group, which at the moment is monthly for anybody who's done any of the workshops or Zoom courses with me in the past, and that's something that people can just drop into as and when they feel that they need to. My own experience is that, you know, it's like any form of habit or addiction that we have. Once we are able to manage that more successfully and in a more healthy way, there is always the possibility of falling off the wagon when we hit a stressful period of life. And so it's often quite important to have a place that you can check in, come back to, and just get back on track with what you know is a better way, a better path, a healthier path, and a much happier path for you in your life. So as always, it's my absolute pleasure to be here talking with you. If you would like to have a look at my website, it's vicky.marston.co.uk. You can find me on Facebook, where I post something, try to post something interesting, uplifting and educational sometimes, but stimulating, thought-provoking on a daily basis. And as I said, if anything that I've said in this short film does resonate with you, please do get in touch. And there are so many possibilities for working now anywhere in the world with people, with Zoom, with telephone, with Skype. So please do get in touch if you're struggling, and if you would just like to feel more at peace with yourself and with your eating on a daily basis. Thank Thank you.